You know, one of the big questions that both historians and philosophers, and I think both Yuval and me, have been interested in for such a long time is what makes human beings special? Why did we conquer the globe? What is our secret superpower? For a very long time, we like to believe that, you know, it must have been God's plan, that we were chosen by some kind of God, and that we're sort of the pinnacle of his creation. Now, obviously, when the Enlightenment came and the scientific revolution, people started to come up with a different explanation. They said, well, maybe it wasn't the gods who chose us, but maybe we're the product of evolution and we're just the smartest of all the animals. We have these huge brains, this incredible cognitive capacity, and that distinguishes us from the rest of the animal kingdom. Now, the problem there is that if you do an intelligence test and you let, say, a human toddler compete with a pig or a chimpanzee, for example, quite often the animals win. So individually, humans are not that impressive. So we have to come up with a different explanation. What is it that really distinguishes us? Why do we build cathedrals and spaceships? Why have we conquered this globe? And I think that it is our capacity to work together, to cooperate. You could even call it, in the words of one evolutionary anthropologist, survival of the friendliest. This friendliness is really our secret superpower. The scientific term for this is self-domestication theory. So the idea is that over the millennia, we sort of domesticated ourselves for a very long time. It was actually the friendliest among us who had the most kids and so had the biggest chance of passing on their genes to the next generation. And I think it's really important that people know this, that science has arrived at a different, a new, more hopeful view of human nature, because that has major implications for how we organize everything, basically, how we do democracy, how we, you know, design our workplaces, our schools, et cetera, et cetera. But that's sort of the short summary of what I'm thinking about.
I think you've almost underplayed the optimism which imbues your book, that it's homo puppy, not homo economicus or indeed homo sapiens, it's homo puppy is your worldview. Yuval, you wrote on the cover of Rutger's book the following commendation. You said, humankind challenged me and made me see humanity from a fresh perspective. So I'm going to ask you to respond to that. But just before you do, I wanted to raise the stakes even more for you by saying that I just noticed that less than an hour ago, President Zelensky tweeted that he is glad that Harari and Yuval will be at the Yes Ukraine today. Humanity needs to overcome not only COVID-19, but mostly our inner demons, our own hatred, our greed and ignorance. And on the tweet goes. So the stakes are high. You have people who can change the world listening.
I really admire the book, Humankind. I really enjoyed it, and it did change my perspective on our species. I completely agree that our secret superpower is the ability to cooperate in very large numbers. I'm not sure that friendliness is what enables us to cooperate in very large numbers. Friendliness is key for cooperation in small numbers, 10 people, 50 people, 100 people. But when you try to get 1 million people to cooperate, or when you try to get 8 billion people to cooperate against a virus, against a pandemic, I don't think that the friendliness in us, which is real, is the key to that. I believe that it's our storytelling capacity. It's the ability to convince millions, sometimes billions of people to believe in the same story. And it doesn't even have to be a true story. To put it in a provocative way, I would say that we control the planet and not the chimpanzees, because we believe a lot more fictions, a lot more nonsense than the chimpanzees.